This is left side of the brain. Let's get into part 2. Holes don't exist. The whole theory, holes don't exist and size does not exist. We stopped the last video. We were speaking about how our time cannot measure up to infinity, which is absent of anything that can measure the amount of change. Let's say if we out of the Earth's atmosphere and we don't have anything to determine how long we have spent outside of the atmosphere, we would lose all track of time. And therefore, like I said, we are always light years behind what's really taking place, right? So let's get into size. Where does size fit in all of this? Okay, this is where size fits in. How size does not exist as well. Okay, just how we went into the holes and how every hole has a barrier, and in between the barrier is the next hole over, like a room, like a hallway with rooms, right? A hotel, and they got room A, room B, room C. What's separating those rooms is a wall, right? But even the wall is filled with holes. So really the room is not separated. Really there is no wall that's up. It's really just because everything is slowed down. When we look at it, it appears to be a wall, right? And because the reason why we can't just walk through the wall, you might say, well, why can't I walk through the wall then? That's because, like I explained, the holes are moving like this. So in order for you to get through the wall, all of the holes in your body will have to line up perfectly with the whole thing, meaning every hole in your body would have to be the same exact hole of every hole in the wall itself. So that means that would give you the green light to walk through it. But because the holes stack on each other in your body like the wall, and they're not all even, one hole might be like this microscopically, one might be like this, one might be like that. And remember I was talking about the camera lens. One hole may not close directly over the other hole, and it may fall in between. So you might try to walk into the hole and then you walk into a fence. It's basically like a fence. Like, because every hole in my body, I'm walking towards this fence, because every hole in my body don't line up with this, I come to it and I hit it. My hand can't go through it because look, it won't allow me, because every hole is not lined up directly with every hole in my body. You see what I'm saying? So that's what creates me from not being able to just walk directly through it. You see, but there are ways to get through it. You see, there are ways to get through it. You see, my shadow can pass through it. My shadow can pass through it. And my shadow, can you see my shadow over there? My shadow is longer and is laying on the ground on top of the shadow that the fence is casting. So really, my shadow is over there on that side, but really it's just a mirror image of me standing in front of the fence. So technically speaking, my shadow didn't go through the fence neither. It's laying on top of the shadow of the fence on the ground. But if you think about it, even the wind, it curves over the bars. We call it aerodynamics. Okay? The wind could blow that fence down. Why the wind could blow it down is because the wind, it goes all the way through every hole in that fence. And the wind is force. The wind may not get inside of every hole in that fence, but it has force, invisible force that can push that fence down. Now, somebody like me, I would have to push it down physically, laying my weight on it. But we're talking about metaphysically. How would I walk through that fence, metaphysically speaking? The only way I would be able to do that, I would have to consciously align every hole in my body. Every chakra in my body would have to be in alignment with the fence that I'm looking at in order for me to walk through that fence. In order for me to walk through a wall, I would have to align every hole in my body. Every chakra in my body, I would have to align. And I would have to come in unison with the very fence that's in front of me. I would have to, in order for me to walk through it, that's what I would have to do. I would have to become the object. If I'm thinking division, I have already set up a barrier between me and the object. I would have to become the object in order to pass through the object. It's just like how water can move through water. You know how you might take a glass of water and you pour it. Let's say if you had a glass bowl in front of you and you had a glass cup. Inside of the cup, you have water. If you pour that water into the glass bowl, you will see the water from the cup moving through the water and becoming one with the water. You'll see the bubbles. First, you'll see the stream that the water creates that you're pouring. Just imagine, this is a bowl in front of me. It's full of water. Right here in my hand is a cup of water. Imagine me pouring the water doop, 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 into the bowl. You're going to see the water creating like a depression inside of the water, and it's going to create bubbles and air bubbles, and everything is going to be popping up, and then it's going to settle, and it's going to just level out, and then all the bubbles and everything will clear out. You see, what happened is the water, it goes in, and because it's water, and because it's just like the very thing that it's moving through, it has no problem moving and cutting through the water. You see what I'm saying? It has no problem cutting through the surface tension of the water because it becomes water. So it can go through the holes in the water and become one with the liquid. So what I'm saying is I would have to put myself in the mind state of water, and I would have to put the fence in the mind state of water, using my mind as the conduit of everything. I would have to say, I am everything. I am the water. The fence is water. I am water. I am one with the fence. I can move through it. That's the only way. That's how you line up the holes. And then when you do that, there will be no hole. There will be nothing to stop you, because again, these barriers between every bubble, these barriers between every air pocket is filled with holes itself. And the holes don't exist. Just look around you, like look up in the sky. It's nighttime where I'm at right now, and if I was to look up in the sky right now, it's nothing but many, many miles up, traveling in all directions. There are no holes. If you want to say it's a hole, it's just one great hole that exists. But you can't really say it's a hole because it don't have no barrier to it. It don't have no shape to it. Like the donut ring gives the whole shape, the circle shape. And the universe don't have a barrier, so holes don't exist in essence, because the universe is the only thing that exists. Everything within the universe is corruptible. Everything can burn up right now and be destroyed. But guess what? The cosmic blackness will still be there. That's the pure consciousness. That pure consciousness of that cosmic blackness will always be there, and it can never be destroyed. It's not artificial. You can't make artificial darkness. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Everything comes out of that darkness. Everything. You, me, every race of person, every animal, every child, every plant, every flower, every bug, every reptile, everything. You see what I'm saying? And that's the sum total of the whole theory, basically. And what I mean about the size, where's the size come in? Size don't exist. And what I mean about that is this. I better start walking back now, because I don't think nobody out here now. It's just me. There's a few. No, that's my car over there. But yeah, size don't exist. And what I mean by that is, oh, it's a couple right there, so I'm cool. As long as that couple right there, it don't make me look suspicious or whatever. Because we still, we living in this world. It's funny how when I'm talking to y'all, it feels like someone is here with me. Because I know when y'all listen to this, I mean, it's going to be like real time to you. So that's why I'm speaking like I'm right in front of you right now. To me, that makes it feel interactive. Like you hearing this real time, just imagine you right there, or you right here sitting on the park bench with me. You know what I'm saying? Like make it real time. Now, where's the size fit in all of this? Pretty much the same concept. Like, look at these trees, right? Look how big that tree is. Like, look how big that tree is. Okay? That tree, as wide as it is, that tree is small, is just as small as a grain of sugar. It's just as small as a grain of sugar. And why I say that is, like the time itself, in comparison to the universe, the size of that tree is like a grain of sugar, because the universe is so vast. And distance make everything small anyway. Okay, boom. If you got in a spaceship, right, and you left the Earth, and you went out into the Earth orbit, and when you look down, everything will get smaller and smaller and smaller, till everything will be the size of like an ant, right? The buildings will start looking like little matchboxes, and the further you go up, everything will just disappear, because the size, the height, the width of the universe is so enormous, it makes everything the same size, which is absolutely zero in comparison. Okay? The biggest person, the smallest person, the biggest and smallest person is the same size when you separate them from a far, far distance. When they looking at each other from a far, far distance, they both see themselves as little ants. It don't matter. It can be a 10-foot man. It can be a 4-foot man. From a far, far distance, they're going to be the same ant size. Now, measure both of them, a 10-foot man and a 4-foot man, and a grain of sugar, and compare all three of them to the size of the universe. They all are going to be the size of a grain of sugar. You see what I'm saying? But when you put them next to each other, then you may see a size difference. But when you separate them and separate them by miles and long distance, they all become the same size. So looking at it from a universal perspective, everything is the same size. Everything in the universe is the same size because the universe is so big. It's so huge that we call in 10 feet because we are measuring it against things that appear big to us. Like, I'm shorter than a tree, so therefore the tree must be... We created markers to determine how tall we are, and the tree is so tall because I'm so small inside of a body. So I'm looking up at the tree as this great big thing. But to the tree, if you compared it to a skyscraper, it would be like me being compared to the tree. You see what I'm saying? And if you would compare the tree, and if you would compare a skyscraper to a mountain, the skyscraper would then fall short like the tree fell short to the skyscraper. And if you compare all three of them, the mountain, the tree, and the skyscraper, to the height of the planet itself, they will all fall short. And if you compare the planet, the skyscraper, the tree, the mountain, and the person to the universe, they will all be the size of a grain of sugar. You see what I'm saying? It will all be the size of a grain of sugar. So if you was to measure, since the universe is infinity, you get what I'm saying? Everything never grows to any height because the universe has infinite width, length, what is it? Width, height, longitude, latitude, in every direction, right? 360 degrees of infinity. So that means anything in comparison to the universe is always infinitely the same size. You get what I'm saying? Like, it will be forever infinitely the same size because infinitely, the things that I named, they stop growing. They stop growing at a certain point. So they can't ever mark up or measure up to infinite space that keeps going and going and going and going and going. So that means everything in the world is the same size when it's compared to infinity. Everything is the same size. So essentially, size is obsolete and size does not exist. Size does not exist. In comparison to the universe, everything is the same size. A grain of salt, a quarter and a grain of salt is the same size on the scale of how large the universe is. They both will not equal up to 1% of the universe. But if you compare them to each other, then they may have different sizes. But I'm talking about the scale of the universe. None of them will equal up to any size. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Nothing will equal up to any size to the universe because it's infinite space. So nothing can even have 1% of the size of the universe. So that's why I say size does not exist. Just like holes don't exist. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, as long as the universe exists, then nothing exists. Because nothing can compare to the vast greatness of the universe. So therefore, holes don't exist. You don't exist. I don't exist. How can you exist and you can't compare? You can't even make up 1% of the universe. You're not even on the mind of the universe. It's so big. You see what I'm saying? It's like right now in your mind, are you concerned about a grain of salt in your kitchen? If a grain of salt fell on the floor, you won't even notice it. You see what I'm saying? Like this universe, you see what I'm saying? Like I exist. Don't get me wrong. Let me rephrase that. We exist, but we don't exist at the same time. Existence in the sense of purpose, because we always talking about purpose. What is our purpose? Our existence is so like the grain of salt that to the infinite vast greatness of the universe, it don't have a purpose or a bearing on the universe and what's taking place in a galaxy that's 1 billion miles away from here. You see what I'm saying? Like when you think about this thing, man, that's why when I start thinking like this, I don't even worry about the stuff in this life, man. You mean I'm gonna be worrying about you and you're not even a size in comparison to the universe? And I'm gonna be worried about you, a measly person that's not even, you don't even make up 1% of the universe, and y'all gonna be worrying about what somebody think about you on your job? Start taking that in mind when you be dealing with organic portals. Keep that in perspective. Consider this more ammunition for us to use. Next time somebody giving you a problem, say to yourself, I'm sitting here worrying about a person who don't even make up 1%, not even 0.5% of the size of the infinite universe. And I'm gonna sit here and worry myself about this person, a speck of nothing. And I'm gonna let you keep me down? No. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to talk about. I wish we was in the classroom. I would say, any questions? Let me see what somebody would ask. Let me see. Because I'm not really ready to start recording right now. I'm really having fun. Let me see what somebody would ask. Let me see. What would somebody ask? Somebody would probably say, well, size does matter. Well, somebody might comment something like that. Size, like I said, in comparison to the universe, it has no bearing on anything. And when we compare ourselves to the universe, we all are the same size. To the universe, we don't even make up a fraction of it. We can't. It's impossible to make up a fraction of infinity. You can't compare yourself to infinity. You see what I'm saying? There's no way. You can't measure up to it. In other words, you can't make a notch. I remember when I was growing up, I used to keep a notch of my growth, and I would take a knife and I would measure, and over the years I could see how tall I grew. What I'm saying is, because the universe is so large and it never stops and it never stops, the measurement has no relevance. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean to that person who probably asked that question. Thank you for asking the question in any way. Now, what else would somebody probably ask? Anyway, I don't want to play the advocate for everybody, so leave questions in the comments section. Good questions. See, these type of videos, they deserve well thought through questions. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask me nothing that's not well thought through. You know, the question is worth the amount of the information. So Ask me some mind-boggling questions. And also, you can add to the video today, both of these videos, you can add to it. You can even strengthen my argument. You can add to it, whatever, to make it better for everybody, for myself, even other people in the comment section. And with that, I'm going to say, hit the subscribe button, like the video, share the video, spread the word, add us on Instagram at Left Side of the Brain 2. More of you. I'm putting out good information. The channel is growing. Let me see the Patreon supporters. It's time for that number to start growing as well. Donate to the channel, www.patreon.com/left side of the brain. Thank you for all of your contributions. I'd like to thank all the new subscribers and all of the regulars for sticking with us since day one. This is Left Side of the Brain. Enjoy the rest of your night, your day, or whatever. Y'all, peace out.